What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on Avengers Doomsday. So, the future of Marvel is still looking good, lads. Don't worry. Just because less people are watching Daredevil, 7.5 million less people than Agatha all along, Marvel isn't dead. Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, Secret Wars will bang. I get it. People have switched off from Marvel at the moment, but Avengers movies are always big. So, if you are new around here, what the frickin' hell are you doing? Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel DC Kaiju monsterverse pop culture based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. You could subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful face. I will be coming on camera much more when the new service is complete. And also check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. So, Marvel lied about the budget for Captain America 4, but they can't do that in England. Why? Because when you film in England, if you meet the requirements, you have to say how much things cost, because Marvel wants the tax rebate from filming in England. So there's an article coming out here via Forbes, which is interesting, but people don't actually seem to read. Marvel Studios has spent £6.3 million on pre-production for Avengers Doomsday in the UK, over 3 times as much as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania at this point. I swear people don't read stuff. You need to read context. You have to have the context of why they've done that. People are like, yeah, this is going to cost $600 million. No, I don't really think it's going to cost $600 million. If you actually read what said article says, let's break it down. So, to qualify for the reimbursement of the tax break, at least 10% of the production costs need to be related to activities in the UK in order to prove to the government how much money they spend in the UK studios, set up a separate film production company. Therefore, each movie they make in the UK falls under the UK law. The FBC has to file financial statements which reveal everything from the headcount, the salaries, to the total costs. It takes a bit of detective work to get the information. So, what does this mean? Well, no one can lie and say, example, no one can lie and say Captain America 4 cost 180 when it costs close to 300. Because when you film in England, you get a tax rebate. So UK taxpayers are funding the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is cool. I won't bore you too much, but it says, the financial statements have a public interest in the UK media as the reimbursement to the studio come from taxpayers. Outside the UK interest is a bigger picture matter of production costs. The financial statements are obliged to show the complete cost for each production in order to get the reimbursement. So in order to get money back, when they film Spider-Man 4 here, when they film Secret Wars and Doomsday, they're not going to be able to lie. And this is why the recent filings date back to June the 30th, 2024. So this doesn't mean it's going to cost $500 to $600 million. They've just got to spend a lot of money in England in order to get the tax rebate. Also, Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 and Spider-Man 4 are going to be some, if not the biggest movies in Marvel history. So they will have to spend more on changing the stages, on doing up the studios, on changing things. But this is a good thing. The more money they spend, in theory, the better something should actually be. But it's interesting how the article goes on down to say, having a big budget does not guarantee they will have the success. Perhaps the biggest problem is the lack of build-up for Doctor Doom, which is due to Marvel spending the past 4 years positioning Kang as an Avengers-level threat. Thanos, the team previous baddie, had appeared in 4 films prior to this, the big battle in Endgame, whereas Doctor Doom has yet to be mentioned. He is expected to make his debut in July's The Fantastic Four First Step, but no other Marvel movies are scheduled between then and Doomsday. And this is an issue, but it's not really an issue. It's a particular concern given that Downey Jr. is so closely associated with the role of Iron Man and his alter ego Tony Stark. So much indeed that when Downey Jr. made his first appearance, it's sometimes tough to tell whether or not he's in character. His change of role has even confused his colleagues. On reading Downey Jr.'s Instagram post, becoming the villain, his former Marvel Studios co-star Gwyneth Paltrow posted saying, I don't get it, are you a baddie now? It's interesting. Nevertheless, even the actor, Downey Jr., has immersed himself in the new role, and then it's basically just a fluff piece. So just because they're spending a bunch of money, it's realistically just to get the tax break and get 30% of the production costs back. That is the only reason they're filming in England. Also, when they film in England, we have much better sound stages over here. We have much better landscape. We have much better land than America. Sorry, lads, but, you know, there's so much history over here. We have so much cool scenery, Victorian buildings. It's just better to film in England than America. I don't care what anyone says. You know, look at the receipts. And also to keep leaks and spoilers away. Deadpool and Wolverine, sure, you had the big field. You had literally a few shots, a few scenes, right, that were leaked. But realistically, most of it's going to be filmed inside, which I get it in the past has been a very bad thing for Marvel. But I don't think in this case it will. The Russos have a very bad track record outside of Marvel. But, you know, Infinity War, obviously Infinity War was better. Endgame was still good. Civil War. The Russos don't miss when it comes to Marvel. So there is nothing to worry about, lads. So also within this article, we've got the code name for Avengers Doomsday. Now, realistically, they only do this when they're just about to start shooting. Now, most recent rumors, no one's had it confirmed. They're supposed to start shooting in April. So the code name and the working title is For All Times Productions UK. Now, this article, although it is Forbes, I don't really trust any trade. Just because it says this doesn't mean they are 100% true. So according to this Forbes article, and like I say, I don't care where it comes from really, it's all the same to me, says it starts shooting in April, which it could. But obviously, they have to use these code names just so it's not obvious what they're filming. Although everybody knows what the code name is. And a lot of people will say that's a leak and a spoiler. Not really. It is literally public information that is going around and it's officially out there. So, also in the news. So when it got announced the Russo brothers were coming back to direct, and it also got announced that only Stephen McFeely was returning. It was interesting because people were like, yo, where is Christopher Marcus? Why is he not involved? So I'm not the kind of person or channel that will make a 10-minute video about why Christopher Marcus isn't returning. As we know, he was involved with Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. So recently, this is the answer. The reasoning, opportunity, choice, and taste, and to lesser degree, creative obligations. Though, let's not make too much of the latter. It's all his personal decision. Magic. It's simple fact, opportunity really, Marcus said, beginning to explain his decision and intention. When we started Agbo, part of the imperative was let's look for things to adopt ideas of our own. And by luck of preferences, I wounded up with a whiteboard full of things. 2 series of books that we had options, a spec script, about 3 or 4 things and other ideas, and a TV pilot. And there was to be written. And this was priority to all the avenging coming on the horizon. But it got to the point where I was like, look, I need to grow these plants or they're going to die. And Marvel is a very extremely full-time, he explained. And so I just said, let's just let everybody be under the understanding that this is what I'm doing because those movies need a brain on them. They need a guide. I love them. So when it came to avenging time, I mean, you don't avenge part-time. You don't do anything Marvel part-time. This is years of commitment. So not even unofficial consulting on films or checking up on what's cooking in the lab. From time to time, we asked, nope, I'm not doing anything with Marvel right now because one, they know what they're doing. He clarified. He also, it was just like, well, these things will die. And I've got a pilot of Netflix, a pilot of Amazon. I've got 9 books and it needs to be turned into masterpieces. And you just make a choice at some point and say, I've done that. I haven't done that. And right now I'm going to do the thing I haven't done, which is the thing that keeps me alive and sparking as a creator. So yeah, loads of people made a big deal about it. But like I said, lads, I'm not going to make a 10-minute video talking about why Christopher Marcus isn't involved. It's a shame he's not involved, but I'm sure they're still going to cook. Stephen McFeely is more than competent himself. The Russo brothers are very good with Marvel and, you know, respectively, not so good outside of Marvel, just you know, based on their work. Hopefully their new Netflix movie show is pretty good. But yeah, that's the reason why he isn't actually involved. Also in the news, so you know one of my favourite things on this channel is going over plot leaks for potential movies. So for Avengers 5 and 6, there is a new leak that coincides with a lot of information. It reads like this. Dr. Doom wants to stop the incursions and save the multiverse. He is also angry at He Who Remains for silencing his universe, as well as every other universe and timeline that didn't correspond to the sacred timeline. and wants freedom above all. Many heroes would join Doom's side and see him as their savior and compromise their morals in order to save their worlds, including variants of Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff and Warstu. Doom will be the protagonist of Doomsday, with major roles for Spider-Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and Warstu, Hulk, Wong, the Fantastic Four, and a handful of mutants. Other characters set to appear include Thunderbolts, Miss Marvel, Falcon, Monica Rambeau, America Chavez, and Franklin Richards. Loki will be the MacGuffin of Doomsday, with different factions racing to reach him first. The Avengers are split into several groups and won't fully assemble until Avengers Secret Wars. Doomsday sees Captain Marvel studying Miss Marvel's quantum bands in order to open a portal to the X-Men universe and rescue Monica Rambeau, unaware that this could destroy both the universes. Monica will have a key role similar to the Vision in Avengers Infinity War. The big reveal is that he who remains deliberately removed the Fantastic Four and mutants from the sacred timeline. By the end of the Secret Wars, the real Earth 616 is restored, leading to a soft reboot that integrates both the Fantastic Four and X-Men into the MCU continuity, as well as recasting some characters and retconning away some unpopular storylines. Does this sound far-fetched? Does this sound realistic? Could have anyone wrote this? Yeah, probably. Sure. Who knows? But it sounds pretty cool if you ask me. This one actually came from 4chan. But you lads and ladettes love me going over this stuff. So like always, guys, I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.